Top 5 things to eat every morning that rebuild your gut and restore bowel movement fast. Most people dealing with constipation have been told the same thing for years. Drink more water. Eat more fiber. And if that doesn't work, try a laxative. But here's what almost no one tells you. Fiber without the right conditions doesn't move anything. It compresses. And that quiet, uncomfortable pressure you feel every single morning, that's not a sign you need more of the same advice. That's a sign the advice was missing something important. In this video, you're going to learn 5 specific things: foods, drinks, and one simple habit that work together to fix what's actually been missing. You probably already have most of them at home. And by the end, you'll understand exactly why what you've been doing may not have been working, and what to do differently, starting tomorrow morning. Number 1. Warm water. First thing in the morning. Not room temperature, not cold, warm. And the timing. That matters more than most people realize. Your stomach has a built-in signal it sends to your intestines every morning. When it senses something warm coming in, after a full night of rest, it tells your intestines to start moving. That signal is what creates the natural urge to go. It's one of the most reliable things your body does. And it works best in the first 20 minutes after you wake up, before you eat anything, before you check your phone, before the stress of the day has a chance to kick in. That window doesn't stay open all day. Most people skip the warm water and go straight to coffee. And coffee does stimulate movement, but it also dehydrates. And dehydration is one of the 2 main things that make stool hard and difficult to pass. Warm water gives you the signal, without the dehydration. Try 2 glasses of warm water. Not boiling, just comfortably warm. Within the first 15 minutes of waking. Then wait. Move gently. Take a short walk around the room if you can. Give your body 5 to 10 minutes to respond. Many people who do this consistently say their entire morning routine shifted within the first week. If plain warm water feels like too little, a small squeeze of lemon adds a little sharpness that may help wake your stomach up faster. Nothing else needed. Number 2, and this one surprises most people, prunes. Not prune juice. Whole prunes. There's a meaningful difference. And it comes down to what's actually happening inside your intestine when stool gets stuck. When stool sits in the colon too long, water gets pulled out of it. What's left is dry, compact, and hard to move, regardless of how much fiber you've added. The problem at that point isn't a lack of bulk. It's a lack of moisture inside the stool itself. Prunes contain a natural compound that pulls water back into your colon and holds it inside the stool. That's what makes prunes genuinely different from most high-fiber foods. They don't just add bulk. They rehydrate the content that's already there. Research has directly compared prunes to fiber supplements for chronic constipation in adults. Prunes consistently performed better, not because of fiber alone, but because of this water-pulling effect, combined with natural compounds that appear to trigger the intestinal muscles to contract. 3 to 4 prunes in the morning, eaten with your warm water, is a practical starting point. If you haven't had them in a while, start with 2 and increase gradually. Too many, too quickly, can cause cramping in some people. That's the effect working faster than your system expects. The goal is gentle and consistent, not aggressive. Have you tried prunes for digestion before? Let us know in the comments and tell us whether they helped or not. Your experience might be exactly what someone else here needs to hear. The second one works in a completely different way. Number 3, a simple warm drink with one ingredient most people overlook. Fennel tea with a small amount of healthy fat. Either a half teaspoon of ghee or a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil, stirred in after steeping. Here's the part that changes how you think about this. Most people assume fiber and water are enough. But there's a third condition, and almost no one talks about it. Without it, the other two can't do their job. Your intestines are roughly 20 feet long. The inner surface of that passage needs to be moist and slightly slippery for stool to move through without friction. When that surface is dry, which happens with age, with low-fat intake, and with certain diets, even soft stool can drag. The muscles contract, but the content doesn't move easily because the surface is working against it. Fiber doesn't fix this. Water doesn't fix this. This is a lubrication problem, and it requires fat to solve it. A small amount of healthy fat in the morning tells your intestinal muscles to contract. It also makes the walls inside your intestines slippery, so nothing drags or gets stuck. Olive oil in particular has been studied in older adults specifically for this purpose, and the results are consistent. A small amount of high-quality fat in the morning helps things move through noticeably faster. Fennel complements this by relaxing the muscles lining your intestines, reducing the spasming that often makes constipation painful and uncomfortable. Together, they address both the friction problem and the cramping that comes with it. To prepare this, steep 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds in 8 ounces of hot water for 5 minutes. Remove the seeds, stir in your fat of choice while the tea is still warm. Sip it slowly. Morning or early evening, either works. It's mild enough to drink daily. When choosing olive oil, look for one that says extra virgin on the label and comes in a dark glass bottle. Light degrades the quality of the oil, and quality matters here. Now, number 4 works in a completely different way. And it reframes something you've probably already tried. Fiber, but fiber used correctly. Most people who've struggled with constipation have already added fiber, bran cereal, fiber supplements, more vegetables. And for many of them, it helped a little. Or it made things worse. If that's been your experience, it doesn't mean fiber doesn't work. It means fiber was working, without the other conditions being in place. Here's how fiber actually works. It adds bulk that physically presses against the nerve signals in your intestinal wall. When those signals are activated, they trigger the wave-like muscle contractions that push content forward. That's the real benefit fiber delivers. But bulk without moisture becomes a dense mass, harder to move, not easier. And bulk without surface lubrication meets resistance at every turn. Fiber is the trigger. It needs the water from item 1, the internal moisture from item 2, and the surface lubrication from item 3 to do its job. This is why the order and the combination matter. The best sources of fiber for this purpose are oats, cooked and cooled, which hold onto water better than most other foods, keeping the stool soft as it moves. Cooked legumes, which are gentler on an aging gut than raw bran. and cooked vegetables, particularly carrots, zucchini, and green beans, which deliver fiber without the abrasiveness that some raw vegetables cause. If you want to add a fiber supplement, look for one that lists psyllium husk as the primary ingredient, with no added sugar or artificial sweeteners. Take it with a full glass of warm water, not cold. And only on days when your food-based fiber intake is lower than usual. The goal is to train the gut through food, not to rely on supplementation every day. One fruit worth adding in the afternoon or evening, figs. 2 to 3 fresh or dried figs contain both types of fiber. One that adds bulk, one that holds water, plus natural compounds that help get things moving on their own, even before the fiber kicks in. If using dried figs, soak them in water for a few hours first. Eat both the figs and the soaking water. And the last one on this list ties everything together. And it's the one most people skip, because it doesn't feel like a digestive solution. Number 5, a 15-minute walk after dinner. And eating that dinner before 7 in the evening. Your gut has its own internal clock. It governs when your intestines are most active, and when they naturally slow down. That clock is set by light, movement, and meal timing. When you eat late, you're asking your digestive system to work during the hours it's built to slow down and rest. The muscles ease off. Food moves through more slowly. Stool sits longer, loses more water, and becomes harder to pass by morning. Eating your last meal before 7 keeps digestion active while your body's clock still supports it. The gut finishes its work. By the time you sleep, it's beginning its overnight recovery phase. Not still trying to process dinner. The walk adds a direct physical benefit. Movement wakes up your gut's own nervous system and gets the muscles in your intestines contracting again. Even slow walking, 15 minutes at a comfortable pace, is enough to meaningfully help things move forward. Studies in older adults have shown that regular post-meal walking reduces the time it takes for food to pass through your system, more reliably than increasing fiber intake alone. You don't need to walk fast. You don't need a destination. Around the block, around the house, down a hallway. The movement is what counts. Together, early dinner and a short walk create the timing and the muscle activation that make everything else on this list more effective. Without this step, the right foods at the wrong time work against your body's own schedule. Let's bring this together. Warm water in the morning activates your stomach's natural signal to get things moving. Prunes rehydrate the stool from the inside in a way that fiber simply can't replicate. Fennel tea with a healthy fat makes the path slippery, so stool moves without dragging. Fiber, used correctly and combined with moisture, gives your intestinal walls the physical trigger they need to contract. And a short evening walk with an early dinner wakes up your gut's own nervous system and keeps it working with your body's natural clock, not against it. None of these are complicated. None of them require anything you can't find at a regular grocery store. But the reason they work together is that they address the actual problem, not just one piece of it. Small, consistent changes done in the right combination make a difference that no single remedy can deliver on its own. You already have everything you need to restore it. The only thing left is to start. Stay connected to this channel. We regularly share videos on digestion, gut health, and simple daily habits that help your body work the way it's supposed to. Naturally, without complicated routines or expensive products. There's always something new worth knowing, and it's always made with you in mind.